Hello everybody, welcome back to Easy Weeknight Cooking with Heart's Desire Spice Blends. So what are we doing tonight? We're doing super simple chili. I almost called it stupid simple chili, but it's not stupid at all. What do you need for our simple chili? Of course, you need our chili bowl. You need a can of beans. Tonight I'm going to be using black beans, but other kinds of beans that go very well in this are going to be kidney beans, which tend to be sweeter, and of course, pinto beans, ye old favorite. If you're on a low salt diet, you're going to want to rinse these before you use them and make sure that you get no salt added beans. And if you are on a low carb diet, you can do one of two things. You can use the black beans, which tend to be a little bit lower on the carb scale, or you can just do without them, and that actually works really well. So, all sorts of great stuff. We're going to be needing 2 cans of some sort of tomatoes. I'm going with diced and crushed. Why? Because I like the texture of the diced. And this time I don't want it super soupy, which I would normally go for a can of diced and a can of sauce because I like soupy things. Well, tonight I want a little bit more texture to it, so I'm going to go for the crushed. You can use stewed, you can use all sauce, just whatever floats your boat, seriously. And if you're on a low salt diet, definitely get the no salt added stuff. So we're also going to need 1 medium onion. I'm going for 2 small onions. So 1 medium onion and 1 pound of some sort of meat. Now you can use ground, you can use chunks, you can use chicken, beef, pork, whatever you like. And it's all good. So we are also going to need a medium pan. Go figure. So why don't we get started by chopping up our onions. We're going to saute our onions with browning our meat and then throw everything in, get all the wonderful bits up off the bottom of the pan and have yummy dinner. And this time I do not have one hidden in the oven. Why? Because I'm hungry and this is going to be done in less than half an hour. Score. So let's get cooking. What are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and dice up the onions. I like to cut off the stem end first, cut it in half, peel it, and then what I'll do is I will slice down to the root end but not through it, and then slice perpendicular to that so that we've got a handy dandy little handle right here. So, to but not through the root end, and you're going to actually make these slices as big as your family loves them. There's no real magic size here. So if you like big chunks, go ahead and cut them in big chunks. If you like smaller chunks, cut them in smaller chunks. If you've got a picky eater who hates onions of any stripe and will not eat anything if they can find an onion powder might be best. I've done that before. Honestly, I have. If you have those super picky eaters that absolutely say they hate onion, if they cannot pick out the onion powder, use it by all means. It's a wonderful tool in your arsenal. Let's also start this. So we're going to want to heat this up before we throw anything in there. And we're also, my lovelies, going to want some of this. Always put a little bit of oil on the bottom of your pan. I love these cast iron pans for this, and what's more, this is an enameled cast iron, and if you're going to use cast iron for everything, use an enameled cast iron for anything that uses tomatoes. Why? Because tomatoes are very acidic and they can strip the seasoning right up off the bottom of your wonderful cast iron. So, as you can see, this thing is wonderfully seasoned. I love my cast iron. They're nicely heavy pot with good heat distribution. But there are some things that you just don't want to do to this lovely, lovely pan. Anyway, we're going to throw the onion and the meat in here. We're going to brown the meat. And when you're in a real hurry, go ahead and use ground meat. If you're not in a real hurry, it'll take about half an hour once the, oops, I got the wrong one on. And it helps if you get the right one on, huh? If you've got half an hour or so, go ahead and use some sort of meat in chunks because it takes about half an hour for the meat to start getting tender. And you want it to be tender, guys. Seriously. With ground meat, it doesn't matter so much. We are getting there. I'm going to go ahead and break up my onions in there, and it's going to start sizzling in time now. And there we go. Break up them onions. Thankfully, these were cold enough that I am not getting a lot of the onion juices in my eyes. There is a trick. Refrigerate your onions. So, we've got a sizzle going on. I'm going to coat my onions with that oil, and then I have actually pre-broken up my ground meat, and so I can just put that right on in there. Give me all them juices. Break up your meat a little bit and let it brown. Next is to go ahead and turn my ground beef. Now, what you're basically doing right now is just adding a bit of browning to everything because browning means flavor. If you haven't been around cooking with me for very long, this is something I will tell you every single time. Browning means extra flavor. So don't skip the browning step. I mean, technically you could just throw everything in a crock pot and then go to work and you'd be okay. But if you skip the browning, if you do not skip the browning, it'll be even better. So let things brown. Your onions will go to about translucent. We've got a good amount of browning here now. Aha. So if you take a look at the bottom, look at that. It's got a little bit of fond on the bottom. This is a good thing. This is a very good thing. That means that you're developing some of the flavors. You're basically caramelizing some of what's going on down here. That's called fond, and it's gorgeous stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our diced tomatoes and we're going to throw them in there. And the extra juices in your diced tomatoes will actually help you bring that fond up off the bottom of the pot. And then we're going to add our chili bowl, because we want the chilies in the chili bowl to actually hydrate before this whole thing is done. So you're going to throw your chili bowl in the middle of cooking, not at the end. So we've got kind of a watery mess on the bottom of the pan, which is excellent. And what we're going to do is we're going to use all that wonderful liquid to scrape up the brown bits on the bottom of the pan, so that we don't miss out on all that flavor. And the bottom of the pan also does not burn. Nothing worse than that burnt taste in your food, right? So basically that extra liquid is going to soak into the fond and allow it to be lifted up. There's a great way to clean the bottom of the pan after you've been sauteing or something like that, and that is throw a little water in it after you're done. Heat it up, and then it's so easy to clean. And we're basically doing the same thing right here with our chili. Now, time to throw in the chili bowl. We're doing 1 tablespoon per pound, guys. And you can scale up this recipe to your heart's content. Okay, that's about a tablespoon. And actually, I probably could use a little bit more. There we are. Give me that flavor. Yep. Stir that around a little bit. Make sure that all those wonderful chilies get in there. Now, I'm hearing some of you going, but Natalie, chili bowl isn't all chilies. And you're absolutely right. And there's a reason why I tell you to put it in now rather than in with your ground meat. You see, chili bowl, yummy, has not only chilies, but several herb spices and several seed spices, things like cumin and garlic is not exactly a seed spice, but it holds up. Basically, several of our seed spices will hold up to a dry fry or something where it's got complete contact with the bottom of the pan. The chilies will to a degree, but the herbs in there will not. So that's why I tell you, okay, we're going to turn this down. That's why I tell you to put it in the middle of your cooking where you've got a lot of liquid around there, and it's going to infuse its flavor into that liquid. The chilies will hydrate, your seed spices will infuse into your liquid, and so will your herbs. That's what you want. Seriously, that is what you want. Okay, and I'm putting the liquid that this was canned in there as well, because that's also lots of really great flavor for the beans. And we are almost done here. As you can tell, there's not a lot of ingredients in this. The recipe is right in the description, and you do not have to worry about what's in your food. Seriously, I love that. So, for everybody, let's go ahead and put these off to the side. You need to take a look at this. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Seriously, yum. Give me a spoon. Oh my goodness. And so you've got a good amount of pot liquor in there. It's gorgeous stuff. You can see your beans, your meat, the whole 9 yards. A lot of people will absolutely love this just the way it is. And we need to let this simmer for a little while before it's done. Make sure all of that meat is indeed all done all the way through, because when we're browning ground meat, you know, sometimes it gets done all the way through, but oftentimes it doesn't just yet. You've got larger chunks in there. So this needs to get done all the way through. While that's cooking, we can turn the heat back up a little bit to about medium high. And while that's cooking and getting ready, we've got some toppers over here that are just awesome. Now, another real quick tip before I go there. Some people like their chili with just a whole lot more thick than what I just showed you here. They like this thing where, you know, you stick a fork in it and the fork stands straight up. There's a way to get that with this chili. And I recommend one of two things. I mean, the traditional way to do that is to thicken this with masa flour, which is awesome stuff, but not everybody has it in their kitchen, right? Especially if we're not on a low salt diet. Grind up some tortilla chips, about an ounce of regular tortilla chips. Now, this is one of my favorite handheld grinders. Now, I cannot use this in the blending kitchen anymore. I have one in the blending kitchen for when I'm making a single batch of something for 3 jars. This is perfect for that. But for everyday cooking, this is great. This is a Krups grinder, and as you could tell, it's not shaped like most grinders. It's actually an oval shape. And the reason I love that is because you don't get pockets of spice that are unevenly ground. It actually throws the spice around and, you know, grinds it pretty evenly. Of course, you're always going to shake it a little bit when you use it. But go ahead and use a grinder that has either been wiped out really well if you use coffee in it, because it's going to lend a coffee taste to what you put in there, or has never had coffee in it. These things are what, 15, 20 bucks at most? Okay, some people have them for more, but you can find them for no more than 20 bucks on Amazon. I think I got mine for about 16, 17 bucks last year, a couple years ago. So you can also get a really cheap one. I used to be able to get them from a place called Bi-Mart all the time, and for like 10 bucks. I think the price has gone up, but go ahead and get yourself a grinder if you're really serious about your cooking. Get yourself a coffee grinder and never use it for coffee. Instead, use it for your spices and things like flaxseed and, in this case, tortilla chips. So, if you need a little extra oomph in here to make it a lot thicker, go ahead and use masa flour or tortilla chips, about an ounce of tortilla chips, and go ahead and put a little masa in there and just go ahead and stir and add some to taste. Make sure that it hydrates before you add more. And so what else are we going to need for this? We're going to need some toppings, seriously. And what else does better then sour cream, cheese, and of course, green onion. Yum. We've got ourselves a green onion, and the most really the best presentation of green onion that I've ever found is when you slice it diagonally, like so. And so go ahead and cut off the very root end, cut off the tips of the greens because they tend to be really dry and just not great. So go ahead and instead of putting it straight onto your knife, go ahead and turn your green onion about a 45-degree angle and slice from there really thin. And my godmother is just a great cook. She is a chef level cook, and she always has the best presentations, and she's the one who taught me this little trick. Okay, now you want to slice these up basically last, or else they start to get a soapy texture and a soapy flavor. So now that we've got this, oh my gosh, it smells great. I'm going to turn that off because it smells and sounds so done. Yum! Let's go ahead and stir it up a little bit. So this is a salt-free, sugar-free, great, easy, simple recipe. I will oftentimes can my own meat, beans, and tomatoes. You throw a jar of each one of those in there and you're done. Oh, don't forget the chili bowl. Essential. So, look at that. Oh, yes. Give me some of that sauce. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So this is just gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I'm going to throw a little bit of this shredded cheese on there. A little bit of sour cream. Give me a dollop, please. Never quite the same without sour cream, right? Throw on a few green onions for texture and flavor and of course presentation, and who doesn't want to dig into that? Seriously. So what do you say we check this out, huh? Look at that. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. It smells awesome. Hot stuff. Real hot stuff. Good tomato kick. You can taste the meat and the beans. They've got their own flavor. Got a good tomato, good amount of tomato in there. And what's more, if it's not hot enough for you, throw in a little bit more chili bowl or even a little bit of cayenne, and it's all good. But it's got a lot of great Tex-Mex flavor there. And so, from our house to yours, bon appetit. We have seriously simple chili. That's awesome. And so keep things tasty, and we will see you next week. And remember to go ahead and check out the sale on Chili Bowl.